Full disclosure, this video moves really fast, so you might have to pause it sometimes.
So to add parameters to our routes, we're going to use something called a tagged union type. So that looks like this. We've got all of these different interfaces that all have key called type, and then we've got a location which looks a lot like our old union type of these different interfaces. This is a pattern called the tagged union, or a discriminated union, or an algebraic data type. I'm going to call it tagged union, but yeah, this is something well known in TypeScript, and that's what it looks like. So how do you use this? We can't do this anymore. Obviously, that will give us an error. How we do that is, because it's an interface, define its type, and it actually, TypeScript is smart enough to know that those are the different possible types in the interfaces we've unionized here. So this is a valid location because it has the about type. If we use a topics ID type, this is no longer a valid location because topics ID requires a type and an ID. And we can add anything, so that works. So cool. So that's what tagged unions do, and hopefully you can see that it's really the same thing as our path name, just with extra information added. I want to start with something crazy. Let's make it so that we've always got a location in our state. We always know that we've got a valid location. This is going to cause a lot of problems, and this video is just going to be now putting out fires.
Which is how I like to write code, because then the errors kind of turn into a to-do list.
First and most obvious, path name is a string. It's not a location.
So we need a function that goes from string to location, and we're going to call that parse. And we're going to use parse, and then I'm not going to show you how I write it. It doesn't matter. That's not really the point of the video here, and it's kind of boring. So we're going to skip that part. Next, I want to update our path link to be a location link. The toProp expects a string, and we've got a location, so now we've got to go the other way, and we're going to call that function format.
But yeah, so that works now. So now we have a parse and a format function. Oh yeah, so now we have this problem with our location links because they're expecting a location, and right now they're just getting a string. So what does that mean? So instead of that, we want our type to be home. It expects a location to void, but we're giving it a string. And that should make this happy. Now we just need to problem, just use set location instead there. And push state expects a string for its URL. That just means we're going to have to format our new location. If you remember, format just goes from a location to a string. We've also got this problem. Oh yeah. So path name is a string, but set location wants a location, so we just have to parse. Okay, hopefully this all still makes sense. I'm not going too fast. We're just putting out fires. Yeah, okay, great. So now our home links works, and let's just, cool. Oh yeah, okay. So now, instead of a path name, we've got a location. We don't have to typecast it. And we want to switch over its type, which could be any one of these guys. Here, not found. But we're getting an error because we haven't handled every case. So, all about topic. Oh, we haven't done topics ID yet. And does it compile? Yes. Wow. So we did it. We put out all the fires. The only problem is we're rendering users for topics. So that's not what we want. We want it to do all of this stuff. So we need to make a topics component. And I'll copy paste some code down here.
So far it's just a couple of location links and a topic component.
Which just does with the requested topics ID, cross-versus state. So the question is, how do we get the topic ID that we want? Let's try the simplest solution, which is just to pass it in as a prop. Cool, so that compiles. We just need to go down here. And our location is going to have the ID that we need.
If it's a topic's ID.
But the problem is, what if we don't have an ID? We could just pass in the empty string, but that's not really the behavior we want, because if we don't have an ID, we should display something entirely different. We don't want to display
this topic component at all.
So how do we do this? Well, buckle in, because this is about to get really crazy. I propose that we pass in a topic location, which is either a topics or a topics ID. If we look at those are just a subset of what's inside of location, and we know it must be one of those two
when we're displaying the topics component.
Now what do we do with our topic location? Well, we're going to do a switch statement, which we know that we have because it's a topics ID. Let's see, topic ID string. Cool. Wow, that's amazing. And we just need to put in cool, and everything compiles. Okay, I'm a little nervous, but this should work. Let's save. About home topics. Wow, man. Put anything, and it puts that in there. We've got our state, it's not getting overridden. Holy crap, look at this. And now look, if we want to add a new, and check it out, we get a couple compile time errors. So first we get an error for formatting because we haven't handled that case, which is great. Cool. And we have an error for our inner component because we haven't handled that case here in our new route. And so it compiles, and let's just add a link to it. And we want it to take us to our new route. And it compiles, so it works. And we go to new route, it takes us there. Check it out. Look at type safety, man. So exciting. So this is actually everything that we want to do. The rest of the tutorial just focuses on tools that make this easier, because this was pretty complicated. Great. So our next tutorial will focus on the parse and format methods, which FPTS routing can create for you. So stay tuned.